Reagan's heart pounded like a drum in her chest as she pressed her lips against Emily's. The stolen moment in the dimly lit dorm room feeling like both a rebellion and a revelation. But then the door creaked open and there stood Lilith, her best friend since freshman orientation, frozen in the doorway with a backpack slung over her shoulder and eyes wide with shock. Reagan pulled away, her face flushing hot. But it was too late. The secret she buried deep inside for years had just exploded into the open, and nothing would ever be the same. Lilith dropped her bag with a thud, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. Ray? What? What the hell is this? Her voice cracked, a mix of confusion and something sharper, like betrayal. Reagan scrambled to her feet, smoothing her shirt as if that could erase the scene, her mind racing through excuses that all felt hollow. Emily, the girl from her psych class who'd been flirting for weeks, grabbed her jacket and muttered a quick "I should go," slipping past Lilith without a backward glance. Left alone, Reagan faced Lilith, the air thick with unspoken words. They'd shared everything. Late-night study sessions, family drama rants, even the occasional heartbreak over guys who never measured up. But this was the one thing Reagan had kept locked away, terrified of what it might cost her. Lil, it's not what it looks like, she started, but even she didn't believe it. Lilith crossed her arms, her dark hair falling over her eyes, hiding whatever storm was brewing inside. Not what it looks like. You were kissing her, Ray. A girl. Since when? Reagan sank onto her bed, the weight of the question pressing down on her. Inside, her thoughts swirled in chaos. How do I explain this when I barely understand it myself? She'd grown up in a small town in Ohio, where church on Sundays and family barbecues defined normalcy. Her parents, devout and traditional, had always talked about her future husband, grandkids, the whole picket fence dream. Questioning that had felt like treason. But college in New York had cracked open doors she'd never known existed. Parties where people loved freely, classes that dissected gender and identity like puzzles worth solving. Emily had been the spark, but the fire had been smoldering for longer. Lilith paced the room, her sneakers scuffing the worn carpet. We've been roommates for 2 years, best friends for 3. You could have told me. Her words stung because they were true. Reagan had rehearsed this conversation 100 times in her head, imagining Lilith's supportive hug, her easy acceptance. But reality was messier. Lilith came from a conservative family too, her Vietnamese immigrant parents clinging to old-world values even in their adopted American life. What if this ruined everything? I was scared, Reagan admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Scared you'd look at me differently. That I'd lose you. The tension hung between them like a fog. Lilith stopped pacing and sat on her own bed across the room, the space feeling wider than ever. Lose me? Ray, you're my person. But this. It changes things. What about your family? Your mom calls every week asking if you've met any nice boys. Reagan winced at the reminder. Her mother, with her endless matchmaking attempts, would shatter if she knew. And her father? He'd probably quote Bible verses and pray for her soul. The thought made her stomach twist. Why couldn't she just be straight like everyone expected? Why did her heart pull her in directions that promised only pain? As the night wore on, they talked in fits and starts. Lilith probed gently at first, asking about Emily. Was it serious? How long had Reagan known? But beneath her questions lurked her own unease. Lilith had always been the steady one, the planner with a 5-year vision board pinned to their wall. Grad school, a stable job, maybe marriage someday. This revelation threatened that stability, forcing her to confront her own buried feelings. Had she ever noticed the way Reagan's gaze lingered on women in movies, or how she dodged dates with guys? And worse, why did the image of Reagan kissing Emily stir something jealous in her gut? Something she couldn't name? By morning, an uneasy truce settled. Reagan promised to end things with Emily, framing it as a one-time experiment. A lie she told herself as much as Lilith. But as they grabbed coffee in the campus cafe, pretending everything was normal, Reagan's mind raced. This isn't over. It's just beginning. The hook had sunk in, and the line was pulling her toward truths she wasn't ready to face. Lilith, sipping her latte, watched her friend with new eyes, wondering if their bond could survive the secrets still hidden. The days blurred into a fragile routine. Classes, meals, movie nights, but now with an undercurrent of awkwardness. Reagan caught Lilith staring sometimes, her expression unreadable. One evening as they studied for midterms, Lilith broke the silence. Have you told anyone else? Reagan shook her head, the isolation hitting hard. No. You're the only one. It was meant to reassure, but it only amplified the pressure. Lilith nodded, but inside, she grappled with her role. Supporter or judge? Her parents had drilled in her the importance of fitting in, of not rocking the boat in a country that already saw them as outsiders. Supporting Reagan meant risking that. Then came the first crack. Reagan's phone buzzed with a text from Emily. Miss you. Want to talk? She deleted it, but Lilith saw the screen. You're really done? Lilith asked, her tone edged with doubt. Reagan nodded too quickly. Yeah. It was a mistake. But was it? In her quiet moments, Reagan replayed the kiss, the electric thrill of it. Denying it felt like suffocating. That night, alone in the shower, she let the water drown her tears, whispering to herself, what if this is who I am? And what price will I pay to hide it? The conflict simmered, building toward inevitable eruption. Lilith, sensing Reagan's turmoil, suggested they hang out with their friend group, a distraction. But at the party, when a guy flirted with Reagan, she forced a smile, her inside screaming. Lilith watched, her own confusion mounting. Why did it bother her so much? Was it protectiveness or something deeper? As the music thumped, Reagan excused herself, stepping outside for air. Lilith followed. You okay? Reagan turned, eyes glistening. No. I'm not. The admission hung there, raw and real. Their conversation spilled into the night, delving deeper. Reagan confessed her fears, of rejection, of being labeled, of disappointing her family. Lilith listened, her heart aching. I get it. My parents would freak if I brought home anyone not approved. But as she spoke, Lilith realized her words rang hollow. She'd never questioned her own attractions, assuming they aligned with expectations. Now Reagan's vulnerability forced her to wonder. What if I'm not as straight as I think? Weeks passed, and the dorm room became a pressure cooker of unspoken truths. Reagan threw herself into her studies, majoring in sociology with a focus on gender studies that now felt painfully personal. She attended lectures on queer theory, jotting notes furiously while her mind wandered to Lilith's reaction that fateful night. Why hadn't she run away? Why did she stay, offering quiet support laced with hesitation? Reagan's inner monologue was relentless. Maybe she's just being polite. Maybe deep down she pities me. Or worse, fears me. Lilith, meanwhile, navigated her own storm. As a pre-med student, her days were filled with labs and textbooks, but nights brought doubts. She'd catch herself replaying the scene, Reagan's lips on Emily's, and feel a pang she couldn't dismiss. Was it envy? Attraction? The thought terrified her. Her family in California expected excellence, assimilation, a life without scandal. Coming out, even hypothetically, would shatter that. You're our hope, her mother often said during video calls, pride mixed with pressure. Lilith pushed the feelings down, focusing on Reagan instead. We need to talk more, she suggested one afternoon over lunch in the quad. Reagan hesitated, fork midway to her mouth. About what? I've already said everything. But she hadn't. The pull toward women wasn't new. It dated back to high school crushes she'd dismissed as admiration. Now with Lilith knowing, it felt exposed, vulnerable. They talked anyway, words tumbling out in the safety of their shared space. Reagan shared stories of subtle rejections, friends' offhand jokes about dykes, family gatherings where heteronormativity reigned. Lilith nodded, sharing her own cultural burdens. In my community, being gay is like betraying your heritage. It's not just personal, it's familial dishonor. The conversation deepened their bond, but also highlighted divides. Reagan wanted to explore her identity, perhaps join the campus LGBTQ+ club. Lilith balked. What if word gets back? Your parents visit next month. Reagan's chest tightened. Her folks were planning a trip, excited to see her college life. The thought of hiding again exhausted her. Inside, I can't keep pretending. But the cost, potential disownment, lost tuition support, loomed large. Tension escalated when Emily reappeared. She cornered Reagan after class, eyes pleading. I thought we had something. Reagan glanced around, paranoid. We can't. My roommate. She saw us. Emily's face hardened. So you're letting fear win? The words stung because they echoed Reagan's fears. That night, she confided in Lilith, expecting sympathy. Instead, Lilith's response was sharp. Good. End it for real this time. Reagan stared. Why do you care so much? Lilith flushed. Because you're my friend. I don't want you hurt. But the truth was more complex. Lilith's jealousy festered unspoken. She began avoiding Reagan, staying late at the library, claiming study groups. Reagan noticed, her hurt turning to anger. One evening she confronted her. You're pulling away. Is it because of me? Because I'm gay? Lilith denied it, but her eyes betrayed her. It's not that. It's complicated. The argument ignited, voices rising. Reagan accused Lilith of judgment. Lilith shot back about recklessness. You think this is easy for me? Lilith yelled. Watching you risk everything. The fight left them raw. Reagan stormed out, wandering campus until dawn, her thoughts a whirlwind. She's right. But so am I. How do I choose between truth and safety? Lilith, alone in the room, curled up, admitting to herself. It's not just worry. I feel something for her. The realization hit like a wave, drowning her in panic. What now? Reconciliation came slowly. A shared class project forced proximity, awkward at first but thawing over time. They laughed over old memories, the ease returning. But under it, attraction simmered for Lilith. She tested waters subtly, a lingering touch, a compliment that carried weight. Reagan felt it too, confusion mixing with hope. Was this mutual? Then the family visit loomed. Reagan's parents arrived, all smiles and hugs. Dinner was tense. Her mom probed about boys, her dad shared conservative rants from back home. Lilith played buffer, deflecting with charm. But later, in private, Reagan broke down. I can't do this forever. Lilith held her, the embrace charged. In that moment, Lilith's resolve cracked. I want more than friendship. Post-visit, the dynamic shifted. Subtle flirtations emerged, shared glances, inside jokes with new meaning. Reagan questioned it. Is she flirting? Or am I projecting? One night, after a movie, Lilith confessed partially. I've been thinking about us. Reagan's heart raced. Us. But before answers, a call interrupted. Lilith's parents checking in. The reminder of stakes halted progress. Conflict brewed externally too. Rumors spread. Someone saw Reagan with Emily before. A friend confronted her. Is it true? Reagan denied, but the seed was planted. Lilith overheard, her protectiveness surging. Ignore them, she said, but inside, this could destroy her. And me if I pursue this. Lilith stared at the invitation on her phone. The colorful flyer for the Campus Pride rally promising acceptance and community. Her finger hovered over yes, but fear gripped her. What if photos surfaced? What if her parents found out? She declined, citing a lab report, but the lie tasted bitter. Reagan's disappointment was palpable. Okay, I get it. But she didn't. Alone at the event, Reagan immersed in the crowd, chants of solidarity echoing her inner cries. This is me. Why can't she see that? Back in the dorm, Reagan returned energized, eyes bright. It was amazing, Lil. People like us out and proud. Lilith forced a smile, envy twisting inside. Like us. The slip hung there. Reagan paused. You know what I mean. But the seed of doubt grew. Lilith's withdrawal intensified. She spent more time with straight friends, laughing at their heteronormative banter to fit in. Reagan watched, hurt festering. She's ashamed of me. The pressure from family mounted. Reagan's mom called, excited about a family reunion. Bring a date if you want. The irony burned. Reagan imagined confessing, the fallout, tears, lectures, possible estrangement. Her dad had once disowned a cousin for lifestyle choices. The thought paralyzed her. Lilith, overhearing, offered comfort. You don't have to tell them yet. But her words felt hypocritical. Why support from afar but not join? Internal maws widened. Lilith's attraction to Reagan deepened, dreams haunting her, soft touches, whispered confessions. Waking she'd panic. This can't be. Her upbringing screamed wrongness. She researched secretly, Forums on cultural clashes with queer identity, but answers only confused. One night, unable to sleep, she confessed to a journal, "I think I love her. But at what cost?" Society's weight pressed in. A campus debate on LGBTQ+ rights turned ugly. Protesters shouting slurs. Reagan attended, speaking up passionately. Lilith watched from the back, admiring but terrified. Afterward, Reagan confronted her absence. "Where were you?" Lilith snapped. "I can't risk my future for a rally." The words cut deep. Reagan's eyes filled. "My identity isn't a risk, it's who I am." The argument escalated into betrayal. Reagan, seeking solace, reconnected with Emily. A coffee meet turned emotional. Emily offering understanding, Lilith withheld. They kissed again, brief but affirming. Guilt hit Reagan immediately. "This isn't fair to Lil." But anger justified it. "She pushed me away." Lilith discovered via a mutual friend. Confrontation was explosive. "How could you?" Lilith yelled, tears streaming. Reagan defended. "You act like you care but you won't commit." Lilith's confession burst out. "Because I'm scared. Scared of losing everything for you." The admission stunned them both. Reagan softened. "For me?" Lilith nodded, vulnerable. I feel the same way." The revelation hung, electric. They talked through the night, unpacking feelings. Lilith admitted her attraction started subtly, growing amid Reagan's crisis. Reagan confessed reciprocity. "I felt it too, but thought it was one-sided." Hope flickered, but reality intruded. "What about our families?" Lilith whispered. Reagan had no answers, only resolve. "We face it together." Their first tentative steps toward romance were cautious. A held hand, a chaste kiss. Joy mingled with dread. But external forces conspired. Reagan's parents surprised with a visit, catching them in a compromising moment. Cuddled on the bed, talking intimately. Her mom's eyes widened. "What's going on?" Reagan froze, mind racing. "Deny or own it." Lilith jumped in. "Just friends." The lie saved the moment but wounded Reagan. Later, alone, Reagan accused. "You threw me under the bus." Lilith defended. "I protected us." But the damage was done. Trust cracked. Moral dilemmas piled on. Lilith's parents pressured her about a suitable match, a family friend's son. She dodged, but the expectation loomed. Reagan urged honesty. "Tell them." Lilith recoiled. "Easy for you to say." The hypocrisy stung. A turning point came at a family dinner Lilith hosted virtually. Her parents probed Reagan. "Such good friends. Any boyfriends?" Reagan deflected, but inside seethed. Post-call she pushed Lilith. "We can't hide forever." Lilith agreed, but fear won. "Not yet." Lilith's ultimatum echoed in her mind like a death knell. Days turned to agony. Her thoughts a battlefield. Love Reagan and risk exile, or deny and lose her soul. She chose delay, avoiding Reagan, sleeping on friends' couches. Reagan, heartbroken, spiraled. Why fight for someone who won't fight back? She confided in Emily, who offered rebound comfort, but Reagan refused. "I love Lil." Reunion loomed for Reagan, back home for holidays. The facade exhausted her. At the airport, Lilith appeared, eyes red. "Don't go without knowing. I choose you." They embraced, tears mixing. But words were easy, actions harder. Home was a minefield. Reagan's family noticed her distraction. "What's wrong, honey?" Her mom pressed. Reagan deflected, but tension built. A cousin outed a rumor from campus. Dinner exploded. "Is it true? You're gay." Her dad's face reddened. Reagan, cornered, admitted. "Yes. And I'm with someone, a girl." Silence shattered into chaos. Her mom cried. "We raised you better." Dad stormed out. The fallout was brutal. Calls from relatives, judgmental texts. Reagan's funding threatened. Shape up or no more tuition. She returned to campus broken, leaning on Lilith. "They hate me." Lilith held her. "They'll come around." But doubt lingered. Lilith's turn came. Her parents visited, sensing oddity. At dinner they pushed the match. "Meet him. For us." Lilith refused. "I'm seeing someone." Probes led to truth. A girl. Reagan. Horror ensued. Her mom wailed. What will people say? Dad disowned verbally. You're no daughter. The pain gutted Lilith. Years of sacrifice gone. Betrayal deepened when Reagan, in vulnerability, shared with a friend who gossiped. Campus buzzed, slurs whispered. Lilith faced backlash in her community group. Traitor. Isolation hit hard. They clung together, but resentment brewed. Reagan blamed Lilith's hesitation. If you'd come out sooner. Lilith countered. You pushed too fast. A major confrontation erupted. At a party, Emily approached Reagan, drunk and spiteful. She'll leave you. Lilith overheard, jealousy exploding. She accused Reagan of lingering feelings. Reagan denied, but doubt seeded. The fight peaked. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Heart shattered. Damage control failed. Lilith, pressured, met the family friend platonically, photos surfacing. Reagan saw, feeling betrayed. How could you? Lilith explained. To appease them. But trust eroded. Moral quandaries intensified. Reagan questioned. Is love worth this pain? Lilith pondered. Sacrifice family for self? They separated briefly, space agonizing. Reagan dated casually, urting Lilith via rumors. Lilith withdrew, depression setting in. Reconciliation attempted via therapy, campus counseling. Sessions unpacked traumas. Cultural clashes, internalized homophobia. Progress slow, but insights emerged. Their love was real, but timing flawed. Society's knife twisted. A hate incident, vandalism on their door. Fags out. Fear gripped. They reported, but response lukewarm. The event united them. We fight together. With Lilith's public coming out, the floodgates opened. Support poured from unexpected quarters. Campus allies, online strangers, but losses mounted. Her parents ceased contact, siblings silent. Lilith's inner turmoil raged. Was it worth it? The emptiness of family void ached, but Reagan's presence soothed. We're building our own family, Reagan whispered during quiet nights, their bond strengthening amid ruins. Reagan's family thawed slightly, her mom reached out tentatively. I don't understand, but I love you. Progress, but conditional. Dad remained distant, a wound festering. Reagan reflected. The price of authenticity is steep, but hiding costs more, my sanity, my joy. Conflicts persisted. Professional repercussions hit Lilith. A conservative internship revoked her offer subtly. Not a fit. Discrimination veiled as policy. Reagan rallied, sue them. But Lilith chose peace. Move on. The decision sparked debate. Fight or forgive. Personal betrayals lingered. Emily scorned, spread lies. Reagan used me. Reputations tarnished, friendships fractured. They confronted her. Why? Emily spat. You chose her. The encounter forced reflection. Our choices ripple, hurting others. Awakenings dawned. Reagan joined advocacy, speaking at events, channeling pain into purpose. Lilith volunteered at shelters, finding solace in helping queer youth. Growth amid grief. We survived because we chose truth. High drama peaked in a final family clash. Reagan's parents visited, meeting Lilith. Tension thick. This is her? Dad grilled. Lilith stood firm. Yes, and I love your daughter. Arguments ensued, Bible quotes versus love pleas. Mom mediated, hinting acceptance. Dad left angry, but seeds planted. Lilith's family mirrored. A cousin reached out secretly. Proud of you. Hope flickered, but full reconciliation distant. The story culminated in quiet resolution. They graduated, moving to a progressive city, jobs secured. Love endured, scarred but stronger. Reagan proposed subtly. Forever? Lilith accepted, rings exchanged privately. Yet, questions remained. Had they chosen right? The narrative closed on reflection. In a world of prejudice, their path was fraught, but authentic.